Right.
Bye-bye. What's our number? Our number is 01243 55 60 60. We'll take a Skype call. I think it's Louis who's Skyped in. Hey, Louis.
Hi, Tommy.
What do you think? Who won that one?
I think Simon definitely won that one. So have I got a bit of background noise here?
Yeah, a tiny bit, but it's still a bit better on a phone line, so just persevere.
Okay. Yeah, Simon definitely won that. I mean, this Weyman Bennett guy sounded like a bit of a plonker to me, to be honest. It's hard not to be rude, but I mean, all that switching around and whatnot.
Yeah, that was an insult to everybody's intelligence, wasn't it? I think, you know, there's some... After he was spoken to and invited on, a couple of days before we went into the studio to do that, he will have said, I guess, to some of his fellow Unite Against Fascism members, there's a possibility that Simon Darby... Because I said to him, you'll be talking with Simon Darby. Do you know him? And he went, oh, yeah, I know Simon Darby.
Yeah.
He would have said, you know, there's a possibility that he might be there as well. And they said, well, don't forget, you can't talk to them. You're not allowed to have a conversation with them. If you do that...
he's going to get a bit of a bollocking, I think, perhaps.
If you have a conversation with him, then we won't talk to you for a couple of days, or we'll say,
Yes.
well, not very good.
Yes.
You know,
We'll definitely get left out.
that's
at the next
bollocks,
gathering.
isn't it? How on earth are we going to find out a bit more if we don't start by talking? Hopefully it starts and finishes with talking. But if it doesn't start with talking, it's going to end in something a lot worse.
But the thing is, he said exactly the same thing as if he would if Simon wasn't there. He just spewed out the same stuff, the same rhetoric, and didn't hardly respond to Simon's point.
See, it seems to me you've got an organisation, the BNP, and you've got another organisation which is set up specifically to attack the BNP verbally, right, and using literature, right. So then the onus has to be on the UAF to explain with some clarity and detail exactly what it is in the BNP's policies, starting with the policies that they object to, and then moving on to the way in which those policies might, according to the UAF, be misinterpreted by some fringe associates of the BNP with malice aforethought. Now, that would have been an intelligent, constructive and valuable way to proceed.
Exactly. I mean, what I would have liked to have heard some real points from the UAF.
Yeah.
Which could have got both myself, the listeners, and BNP members thinking and being critical and saying, hang on a minute, maybe I do have to think about this twice. But what came across was the claim that I think Simon and others usually make, which is if they do go on a conversation with these people, they'll win every time. And what they did, he did win. He did win the argument there, pretty much. And another issue I'd like to take up is, I think Simon mentioned himself being English, and about, I don't know, it's going off topic, but about the exclusivity of, if you're English, of that being permitted to be... It's an ethnic group, isn't it? It's a national group.
Yeah.
And there was a recent ban on the West Bromwich March, St George's Day West Bromwich March, and the Labour Council there has just said, no, you can't have the march anymore because it's too tribal, it arouses too many tribal instincts. And what I'm interested to know is whether the people like the UAF think that the English people, the Welsh, the British people, shouldn't be permitted to maintain this exclusive identity. Because when you have other groups in society, as you do the Irish, the Somalians, the Polish, we call them by that name and we recognise that they are cultural units and they have their own identity and we respect that. But I think, as the last caller said, the English people, the Welsh, Scottish, Irish, we're wanting our own identity too. We want to maintain that identity. And the fact is that what these other people are claiming is it racist to say that? Because if it's racist to say that, then it's absurd that we can't maintain that identity and others can. And I think that might be Simon's point. It's not to do with skin colour, it's to do with maintaining an exclusive ethnic cultural identity, our right to maintain that identity. So,
we'll have another opportunity to talk to Simon Darby. I'm not sure whether Weyman Bennett is going to be tempted back onto the airwaves, but Louis, I hope you are, because it's always refreshing to hear what you have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
We'll lurch to line 2. Hello, who's this? You're on Play Talk UK.
Hi, Tom. My name's Darren. I'm from London.
Hello there.
Hi. I was just sort of coming in from the country argument, really. I feel that although Simon seemed to be able to put his views over a lot more eloquent way, I just think that by saying things like, oh, British for British people, those sort of arguments that have been brought in, it doesn't really stand up for what Britain is about. I mean, if you think of someone like America, everybody is, say, Asian American or African American, but it's always applied with the American part of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's implying is that people from other cultural black backgrounds aren't British.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's certainly the opinion that I'm getting from what he's been mentioning. And I feel that...
Okay, you make a good point, and I hadn't thought about it before. Let's just stay there for a second, and then we'll take the international news on Global News Talk. Sorry, what's your name again? Forgive me?
My name is Darren, sorry.
Darren. Okay, Darren. So what you're saying is that you'd be more comfortable listening to what Simon Darby has to say if he was referring to Afro-British or Asian British.
I think that's something that as a country we've kind of lost, is that no matter where you're from, no matter where, your skin colour, your religious beliefs,
Yeah.
you live in this country, you've grown up in this country, or you've come to this country recently, but you still have a benefit. And I just feel that his views are very sort of negative. And it's, if you're not white, British, or of Christian background, then you're not of benefit. And that just feels to me something that's very to be very scared of and to be very fearful of. And so I can understand why the UAF are unkeen to speak to him, because it's in a way by stepping into the forum with him, he's not he's acknowledging that they have a legitimate political view, and quite frankly they don't.
No, I don't buy that one. If you're going to set up an organisation specifically to try and combat an organisation, then ignoring them and not wanting to have any kind of a conversation or debate in public with them so that people can judge the respective arguments is having your cake and eating it, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
It's like a sort of political equivalent of, knock down ginger, whatever it was called, where you knock on the door to annoy the old lady and then run away. It's just...
Yeah, well,
not much of a sport.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Listen, Darren, I'll tell you what. Simon Darby will be back, and because he enjoys listening to what people have to say, and people enjoy talking to him, and even trying to change his views. So maybe we can pencil you in for a chance to have a chat with Simon Darby. I'm sure you'll do at least as good a job as Weyman Bennett did, if not better.
Thank you.
I'm grateful for your call.
Cheers.
Cheers.